Alrighty, so with the next update coming out, we're going to be getting a free Holy Relic as far as like the bird boss material Holy Relics goes, which means that you're going to be able to pretty much make one for humans or unknown, because they haven't released any for fairies or giants yet. So I don't know, you could potentially just sit on the materials if you really want to and wait for a character that you would enjoy more, but I just kind of wanted to go over who I'm thinking about making it for, and maybe some honorable mentions for, you know, you guys if you're interested in those characters. So I originally, when I was thinking about it, I was like, who do I want to give this to? And I was thinking about Green Shin, mainly because he is just a farming unit, basically. But, you know, the more I think about it, I don't really farm a whole lot nowadays. Like, I kind of just sit on a stockpile of materials more often than not. And I do like farming gold every now and then, because you can, you know, get anvils and hammers and stuff like that out of it. And obviously a lot of the stuff in the game costs, you know, like millions of gold to do sometimes, like upgrading gear and making UR gear and using cosmetic upgrades and stuff like that. All of that stuff is really expensive, so it's nice to just sit on a decent amount of gold. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know if I can really bring myself to give it to him, because I just don't really think it'll matter too much. Like, I mean, I think, you know, even with the amount that I farm now, I normally end up running out of stamina pots regardless, so I don't think, you know, the speed at which I farm is going to matter all that much, because if I leave my computer or my phone on overnight trying to farm and I still end up running out of stamina pots, then it's just going to be my phone sitting there regardless. So I don't know. So I'm not really sure if I want to give him the Holy Relic. The other option is the One Escanor, and I know that one's a little controversial. I know a lot of people are like, oh, like the One Escanor's Holy Relic really isn't all that good, and I definitely agree. I already hate the fact that it's PvP only, but the only reason I'm leaning towards it is because PvP is where Escanor shines a lot. Like, he's still relevant. Like, he's still very meta relevant. People use him all the time. People use like straight up regular Escanor teams, or they'll just, you know, throw Escanor onto a team to not only maybe boost up their CC a bit because he's got high CC, but, you know, he just deals a lot of damage, and that's understandable, you know. And if you have the Holy Relic, which I know ignoring 30% of the enemy's defense isn't like super crazy, but it's still pretty decent, I think. And I think that, you know, for example, you know, Trader Meliodas right now is the hot unit. Everybody's using Trader Meliodas teams, and most of the time people run it with Escanor. And so if you're using the One Escanor and you have this Holy Relic, you could potentially get that much more damage off, so that way you can potentially use the, you know, most of the time people use both of his single target cards on the unit, and then they'll use Meli's Amplify card to secure the kill. Sometimes you just fall a little bit short, and I think that this Holy Relic would be a good one to try and, you know, get that much extra damage off to sort of try and, you know, secure the kill turn one. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of like turn one like kill teams or anything like that, but it would be a really good, you know, Holy Relic for that scenario specifically. The only thing holding me back from making this one in general is the fact that it's for PvP only, because if you know me, I don't really like PvP all that much in this game. I'm more of a PvE player, and if I could get more value out of the Relic by using it in other game modes and stuff like that, it would benefit me a lot more. But it is what it is. I'm still thinking about it. It's a pretty cool looking Holy Relic. I don't think a lot of people really liked it whenever it first came out, but I think it kind of fits his whole like on fire sort of aesthetic. So it's not like awful. I don't think it's a bad Holy Relic in the grand scheme of things. It's maybe not as good as other relics are, but then again, Escanor's insane already. Like, you can literally do so much damage with him. If you rush his ult, he can literally like one-shot a unit very easily, and if he one-shots them and the death damage goes off, and then it's gonna more than likely kill a second unit as well. Obviously there are certain teams and stuff like that that can sort of, you know, help cut down on his ult damage and maybe negate it a little bit, but at the same time, for most scenarios, he's just insane. So in PvP, if you have the Relic, it's obviously going to help him quite a bit. So I think that he's a strong candidate for me specifically. Obviously, this is going to differ from person to person because different people are going to have different accounts. Bon is one that I think some people might be a little bit drawn to. And I have to say, his relic is good. I do like his relic. I think it makes a lot of sense. It works in PvP and PvE scenarios. It's not limited to just one game mode, which is really good. But I feel like more often than not, people don't use this on the Bond team. They give him the Holy Relic, and then they're like, hey, Bond has a ton of CC. We're just going to throw him on the back line as a sub-slot unit, and then if they insta-wipe my entire team, Bond will come down and save me. And from my experience, it's really just not the case. Like, I mean, there might be, a couple of times here or there where you might be able to get that to work if you get like good RNG and you draw like a ton of his detonate cards or something like that, and like you get a gold detonate like right off the gate or something. But if they wipe your entire team and he comes down out of the back line, you can only use one card. And I mean, him getting those extra HP stacks and stuff like that is good. Like, it's gonna help him do more damage. But I honestly think if you're gonna try to use the Bond Holy Relic, be willing to use the Bond team, because if you're not going to use it on the Bond team, I don't really think it's worth it. I more often than not, when I go against people who are using even the same team as I am, and they have Bond in the back and I have an actual support unit that's helping my frontline units do better, like whether it be Death Pierce or Nanashi or whoever the case may be, my back slot is actually helping my front slot units do better, and so their front slot units aren't doing as good against me. I end up killing them. Bond comes down out of the Mac. It's like a 1 in 100 chance he's gonna actually kill me, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know, I don't really recommend this one. If you have the Bond team and you want to use the Bond team, go for it. It is a good relic. But other than that, I really don't know if I would actually recommend it. Merlin is also an interesting one. I had a comment, somebody was asking if I was going to make the Merlin relic, and I'm not really interested in the Merlin relic. I don't use the unknown team at all in PvP. It's just not really my style. Like, if I do end up using it, it's just for like a random video or something. Like, I'll play a couple of matches and then swap back to whatever I'm using, or just some sort of fun team, because that's honestly what's fun for me in PvP, is just kind of messing around with different teams and stuff like that. So I don't normally use the unknown team at all. And honestly, the only other scenario this would help, because it does work in other game modes besides PvP, is Grey Demon, because I use her for Grey Demon a lot, and Grey Demon's already like insanely easy to beat. So I don't really think that giving her the Holy Relic is going to be all that worth, like getting that much extra damage out of the Grey Demons and stuff like that, and beating it that slight bit faster, or just making sure like it can secure the kill, I guess, maybe. But actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think Grey Demon's debuff immune, so it might not even work. So probably not even worth it to begin with if you're just going to get it for that. But I don't know, I think it's a decent relic. It's not bad. I'm just not really interested in it because I don't use her in PvP. So yeah, another one is Excalibur Arthur. I think Excalibur Arthur actually has a pretty decent Holy Relic, because if you don't know, if you survive with 20% or less HP, you remove debuffs and fully heal one time, which is pretty strong considering, he's the one that you're going to be putting on stances and stuff like that, which are going to make you have to attack him. He puts on a taunt, which is pretty strong. I honestly think that he does very well. So I don't know, obviously if you have like a really good card and you're going against somebody with a Arthur Holy Relic, you just want to use the big card last, so that way he hopefully doesn't proc that. But I honestly don't think it's bad if you're already if you already have the Bond relic and you're wanting to use the Bond team. I think that one's a pretty decent relic. But yeah, I have to say, out of the ones that I do have, Escanor is fun, but it's not great. I wouldn't recommend people go out of their way to get the regular Escanor relic unless they just either really like Escanor or they want to legitimately use the character. But obviously both of these Escanors are really old and there's a lot better units that you could use nowadays, so I don't know why you would go out of your way to really try and use him, I guess. There are situations where I do like Green Escanor more than the One Escanor, because he has debuff removal or whatever. He can put ignites on and stuff like that. He's literally immune to debuffs and stuff like that every time you fill his ultimate gauge up, which is pretty cool. But I mean, the One Escanor also has debuff immunity every 3 turns. So, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. They both shine in their own respective fields, I guess. But, I don't know. Not something I would really recommend you get. Other than that, the Arthur Holy Relic, I think, is pretty pretty interesting. And I say that because Green Arthur is a good unit. You know, people use him a lot for, you know, farming and, you know, PvE stuff, because obviously his, you know, passive only works in PvE. But this relic does work in PvE and stuff like that, so I think you could potentially get a little bit more value out of your Green Arthur if you use him a lot. And if you want to use Red Arthur, there are a lot of fun sort of like, you know, just silly, you know, amplify teams that you can use if you pair with him with Sigurd. You can have a lot of fun with this unit, and I do like the fact that there are 4 different Arthur units that you can use this Holy Relic on. So if you build it, you basically get the Holy Relic for 4 units instead of just 1 or 2, which is good. That's really good value in my opinion. So not that I'm really all that worried about using like Blue Arthur, even though I used to really like this Blue Arthur. I originally built a UR set for him because I liked him so much. I might end up trying to mess with him a little bit more lately, but there's also SR Arthur that you get to use it as well. Not that I'm going to use him for anything. I think I remember him being useful for like a specific, you know, boss fight or something like that in the game at one point, but yeah, maybe not something you want to go for, but you know, if you have the extra materials and stuff like that laying around, it's a pretty decent value Holy Relic in my opinion. The only other one that I have is that's actually interesting is Gowther. And Gowther is one that I feel like some people might be interested in, but at the same time it's so limited, and Gowther is already such a good unit that they felt the need to give him kind of like a bad or like nerfed Holy Relic, so that way it's not going to go like crazy overboard. And I have to say, I don't really like it a whole lot. Like, I do like the way it looks. I honestly think I ended up building this one more for the look of it than the actual effect, because the effect is just so minuscule. If you don't know, increases allies' basic stats by 1% every time the hero uses a buff or debuff skill, but it does not count for debuff attack skills. So Green Gowther's Pumpkin Bombs, Red Gowther's Attack Seal card doesn't apply. So it literally only works if you're using rank up on those 2 units, which are the ones that you're going to be using, and it just makes it really hard to stack this up. And even then, if you max this thing out at 10 stacks, 10% basic stats is pretty decent, but it takes so long to get there. You're not really going to get a whole lot of use out of it, I feel like. Even when I'm, you know, going against the bird or something like that, which is what I originally built this for. I was like, hey, I use Gowther on the bird team, maybe it'll help me a little bit on the bird. But even then, unless I just get like insanely lucky with, you know, invasion arrow pulls, it just doesn't really do a whole lot. So I don't know, really can't recommend that one. It looks good in my opinion, and I mean, you get a little bit of extra value out of the unit itself, but it's very, very small. So that's pretty much all I have to say. None of the other units that have Holy Relics really speak to me at all, as far as like their actual effects and stuff like that. The only other unit that I really want the Holy Relic just for looks is Valenti, because this Holy Relic looks fantastic. I don't know what it is about the really like nice like angel bird looking side, and then the like devil bird, like demon bird looking side is, but that thing looks sick to me. That thing looks fantastic. I would love to get this one just to have it. But even then, if you use her as like a representative unit, you don't actually have the arms with you. It's just the unit. So you would have to actually use this unit in PvP and stuff like that. And as you can see, I don't have this unit powered up. I know there was a little bit, you know, not too long ago where people were using Valenti quite a bit in the meta to sort of counter different things. But I don't know. Never tried it. I might end up trying to mess with her a little bit more in the future. But as far as the Holy Relic, I don't think I could ever actually bring myself to build it. Because it's okay. It's not great. It's like... if an ally dies, she gains 4 ultimate move gauge, which is pretty decent. Like, that's pretty much a free ult every time. But I don't know, just not anything crazy. So that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to say. I'm really thinking that I'm going to end up leaning more towards the One Escanor, which is going to be a bit weird because I know that he's not one that a lot of people are super interested in, but I do kind of want to test it out. Plus, I have the other Escanor, so it would be pretty interesting to just, like, compare the two, I guess. But, yeah, either way, that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments below what you're really thinking on getting, or like what you think is a good holy relic that you want to get, because you know, obviously it's not going to be too many days before we actually get the update, and obviously it's going to be a couple of days after the update before you're actually going to be able to complete a lot of those bingo steps and stuff like that, so that way you can get the actual reward, so you'll have a little bit of time to think about it. So let me know what you're thinking. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in the next one. So I'll see you then.